everybody. Welcome back. It's another episode of Fanzone. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Here we are. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm excited. My name is Tim. Hello. This is going to be a very interesting match. We've got Chris Diaz versus Andrew Barr, both debut players in Fanzone and debate at Multiplex in generals. We know Andrew Barr well around these parts in the trivia type side of things, but never in the debate side of things. And Chris Diaz, I believe this is his Multiplex debut. So this will be interesting. Cody, you're here. This is your first Fanzone. Welcome. Are you excited?
Sure. I'm excited. I'm excited to be judging with the Arkham Knights. Like, that's exciting. And I'm excited for Chris to be here. Andrew Barr is a totally different story. I don't know how long I can hear those pretentious takes for 4 rounds, but I will judge it fairly. I will judge it down the line. Chris, but if you could knock him out, that'd be great, because he's a hack.
Okay. Robert Parker is also here. I believe this is this your judging debut?
No, I've done this is my first fan zone, but yeah. I've done Nerdgasm.
Well, okay, well, perfect. You've had a Nerdgasm before, interesting, but you're here judging for fan zone
numerous times, Tim.
Yes. And are you excited?
I'm excited. How are you? Are you guys good? You guys good? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
Good.
That's it.
Good.
I've had some emotional stuff the last 2 days. Apparently, Tim has had way more. So
yeah. Not to date this video, but The Last of Us 2 came out yesterday, so it's been a roller coaster of a week. But that's not going to stop us from having fun at this fan zone match. Let's get into it right away. Let's start by bringing in our competitors today. Let's start with Chris. Welcome. You are here for your first match of Fanzone. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. This is a debate that will be fun. A lot of back and forth, but this is stuff I'm pretty passionate about, especially in the category.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, and then let's bring in Mr. Barr, apparently a hack, according to Cody Newberry. I don't know where this thing started, but apparently it has risen to extreme proportions. Mr. Barr, how are you feeling about your Multiplex debate debut?
I'm going to hack it up.
Oh. All right, fair enough. Okay, so the way that this is going to work, we have drafted categories. The competitors have drafted categories. We gave them questions, and then they answered said questions. So they are going to argue those answers. And here's how it's going to work. There are going to be 1-minute openings for each competitor, and then a 5-minute free-form debate, along with a 1-minute closing then. The judges will then decide who is the winner of the question. First person to 3 is the winner. If it does end in a tie after our 4 prep questions, we will go to a speed round question. Are there any questions from the competitors as we get going?
Nope.
All right, so first category is in musicals. Musicals is the category. The question is best musical number in a classic musical. So we are going to start with Andrew Barr, since he had drafted this category. Andrew, you have 1 minute to open your argument as soon as you start talking.
Okay. All right. So the greatest musical of all time, in movie form at least, is West Side Story. So it would only make sense that the greatest musical number would come from that same movie, and it is the electrifying song and dance moment that is America. This is a great moment between Bernardo and Anita, as well as the women in the Sharks and the men in the Sharks. It is a great back and forth piece with amazing dancing that is beautifully captured, and there's so much energy that is just so infectious that everyone is having a blast making this, and you can tell, and it is like a sponge. You were just soaking it in, but it also talks about a lot of serious subject matter at the time and still relevant today, honestly. So with that, honestly, it's the best. I'm done.
All right. About 5 seconds early. Chris, it is now your turn. 1 minute to open your argument. When you start talking, I'll come in when you have 10 seconds left.
Okay, when you come to think of great musical number, you think of something that has catchy tunes, catchy choreography, great acting, and stuff that will leave you humming for days. And it's Singing in the Rain from the movie Singing in the Rain, one of the best musicals of all time. It was Gene Kelly just coming back for his date with his girlfriend, and he started dancing, humming, like he's singing in the rain, and he dressed up with an umbrella. Oh, they're all catchy and tune. Like when you see a moment that sticks in your mind, Singing in the Rain for tune. Singing in the rain, I sing in the rain. My boy is morning, a happy and to the choreography start with the rain, to the smiling face, to the little joke like him dancing in the part of the police stopping him, and he does that's the thing and he walk away. Like, and it's classic. It's been used in so many musicals to death, and there's so much more argument to talk about the cleverness of it and the way it's memorable. You to hum the music, you know the lyrics, you know the theme, you know everything that makes music great. I can see my argument because there's a lot to say about it.
All right. So, both competitors leaving about 5 seconds on the board. Guys, we are now going to go into 5 minutes of freeform. Remember, even back and forth. If you talk for 30 seconds, then let your competitor talk for 30 seconds. I will come in and tell you to shush if you are filibustering 5 minutes when one of you starts talking.
All right, so you mentioned how Singing in the Rain is one of the catchiest, most hummable songs in musicals. So is America. It's probably the song that most people know from that movie without even knowing that it's from the movie. And you also mentioned
Can you?
Mm-hmm. Can I? Yeah, absolutely.
Can you sing the whole song from start to finish? Can you remember one lyric in the
Oh my
song?
gosh. Puerto Rico, my heart's devotion, let it sink back in the ocean. The lyrics of that song. Yeah, but if we go based on just that alone,
and then let's talk about it. You say a great song. Let's talk about the thing that when you realize the truth behind it, make the song lose their power. Besides Anita, the actress that played Anita, Rita Moreno, all the other actors, Trini Bernardo, Trini Maria, and other things, are not Puerto Rican. They put on brown makeup to make them look Puerto Rican. It negates the powerfulness of the song. It ruined the point of the song. You think it's a song doing it back and forth about Puerto Rican. There's another song early on in the movie that does a better job with Diaz that talk about the judicial system most serious matter.
America's not about the judicial system, though. America's not about the judicial system, and the fact that Rita Moreno is of that heritage actually does help.
Let Barr talk.
Right.
But it doesn't negate the fact that when you have people talking about like Puerto Rican between both, it ruins the fact that when you realize not all of them are Puerto Rican descent, and especially in 1960, that ruined the point of the song. The song is about, hey, we like
but in terms of the story, in terms of the story, yes, it does help in the history of the I can't speak today. It does hurt in the history of whitewashing, but when it comes to the story itself, they are from Puerto Rico, and you also mentioned Rita Moreno. But it's not about the judicial system. It's about it's about the American dream and how it differs from what you're told, and also it's about your heritage, and the heritage is important to these two characters, and the way that they go back and forth about like our heritage versus our opportunity is so poignant, and it still resonates today.
But especially later, it's somewhat outdated, even especially today, with what's going on today. And when you think of Singing in the Rain, it's classic, the tune is memorable, the choreography is great, the other stuff is really good. Like, and then what you see in classic musical number, American is great, but there are songs that are better in West Side Story than American. Somewhere is much better. The jazz song, cool is better. Like those songs you get into your head more than America. Especially when you look at like best song for musical today, America is number 35 AFI top 100 list. Singing in the Rain at number 3. Somewhere is much higher than that. And that's because the most memorable song. They bring you joy and like what you need today.
But the AFI list has Tootsie on its top 100 movies of all time. So the AFI list means jack in this moment.
But when you think of it, you add people like...
Give me just a few seconds. You talked about the puddles. There are so many puddles. It is overused in that sequence. You see him splashing through it a couple times, great, but he keeps going and going and going and going and going.
And then he go on a rampart. He used he go back and forth with his choreography.
Just because yours is more iconic doesn't mean it's better.
When you look at stuff outside of the movie, like Robot used it, One Step Up used some idea, Glee, everything, it's more iconic. Even
People have used America over and over again. It's been a huge parody topic.
Yeah, but
1 minute.
People today want the most classic musical number. It is Sing the Rain because of the iconic catchiness. People to hum Sing the Rain more than America. Like America lyrics are so outdated. And so, especially when watching, actually does a better job of doing it.
Here's the other thing that makes America so great is the time signature that they use. It is in 6/8 time, which means that it's in 2 beats, and that is the perfect kind of time signature for a retort song. One person has their side, one person has the other side, and the dancing is amazing. It is all in these wide.
The dance is better.
But no, it's not, because it's a lot slower and it's not as energetic. Gene Kelly
but you can tell what side is different.
That dance.
Yeah. But he also, during the time he was shooting that, he did it with 113 temperature. He still make it look amazing.
Cool. Tom Cruise hopped from one building to one building with a broken foot.
It held up much better.
Time.
And he held up much better.
Time. Okay. Chris, you are going to get 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
Okay, when you think of classic musical moment for movie, Singing Rain come to mind because you're catching it to the times of the iconic tune, to stuff that the rain, the dancing dancer birds with the umbrella, the little ironic humor. It is what you think of classic musical. America's great, but you negate the fact that not every actor in the song is Puerto Rican. It really ruined the fact. The dance is much better used in the mumble dance. There are more catchy songs somewhere. The artist is trusty, cool, everything. Sing the Rain and the iconic. You ask somebody today, what is the song that you think of it? Sing the Rain, not America. America's good, but there's so many factors that keep it from being great. And sorry, but sing the rain, I sing the rain. People just sing every song of this. I happy again. It's more memorable, more catchy. And the question, what is the most memorable song? That's why America is just a good song, ruined by the fact that not all the actors Puerto Rican would negate the poundishness of the lyrics. So,
time. All right, Barr, you have 1 minute to start your argument or close your argument. I'm sorry, when you start talking.
The question isn't most memorable song, and even if it was, I would still pick America over Singing in the Rain. I already talked about how the time signature is the perfect kind of time signature to make this, but the dancing in this scene is so well captured, and it's so energetic, and it's just so great to see how much fun that all these people are having. Whereas with Singing in the Rain, you can feel that Gene Kelly's not feeling it 100%, and it's a lot of the same thing going on over and over and over again with some okay tap dancing when you compare it to a lot of Gene Kelly's other stuff, especially in its own movie. It's not even the best scene from that movie. Make 'em Laugh is better. But the thing is the beauty of the construction of America. And I concede my time.
Okay. All right. Here's how this is going to go. I will start, and I will say I'm going to give my point to Barr. The question was best musical number in a classic musical. To me, that has to do with everything about the scene from the movie. I heard a lot from Chris about how good and catchy and memorable the song is, but when it came to the actual scene and the number and everything Kelly's doing, Barr kind of shot that down and explained why America was a great musical number, not just a catchy song, but a great number in the movie as well. So I'm going to give my point to Barr. Cody, where are you going?
His insult against Singing in the Rain and Tootsie almost cost him this point, but I would also give the point to Barr just because the overall, there was a lot of catchiness. There was a lot of back and forth why they're like, I understand like the actors not being what they are, but it's still the message of the song was good. So Barr gets my point.
Okay, so that means Barr does get the first point. Robert, you didn't get to vote on this one. Where are you leaning and why?
I actually also would have given it to Barr. I think Chris's biggest offense against Barr was the Puerto Rican heritage of the actors and actresses in the scene, and I think Barr actually countered that really well, justifying it with the filmmaking of the time and how that isn't really a dig against the number itself, just more so like casting of the movie and how it was made at the time. So I would have also given that one to Barr.
All right. So Barr does get the first point. We are going to move on to question number 2. Okay, so the second question is in the category of Wizarding World. This is a category that Chris drafted, and so he will be going first. The question is, who is the best Hogwarts professor? So, Chris, you will be going first on this one. You get 1 minute to start your argument when you start talking.
Okay, when it comes to Harry Potter, when reaching out the best for a professor, the professor does the best for student to inspire the student and will help them out in a situation. And despite being only for 1 year, it Remus Lupin. Remus Lupin was friend of Harry Potter father, and he also came in during Harry Potter 3rd year. He brought a lot to what he did with the Defender Dog, but during the time with lackluster active for literary lockup, he helped him to encourage him to do better. He helped never get out of his insecurity. He helped Harry survive 3rd year. Without him, Harry would have had survived 3rd year without the Patronus. He probably would have been dead or without soul due to Dementors. He also helped Harry find out to do best Sirius Black. He does a lot for his student, how to be inventing, how to do practical. He makes his class fun inventing compared to the rest of the defensive art. The more to go into. But when you see a best overall professor, Remus Lupin is the best overall professor because of what he did during the time he was 10 years.
2, 1, time. Okay. Good opening. Let's move over to Barr. You have 1 minute to start when you start talking.
What makes a great professor? It's someone who's knowledgeable in what they're teaching. It is someone that the students respect. It is someone who has a really good reputation with the surrounding world. The person who does that the best is Professor McGonagall. Professor McGonagall is one of the most respected professors in Hogwarts. She's been around for she's got the same amount of respect as Dumbledore. The students trust her. The students trust them to have her back, and she does. But she's also very knowledgeable in what she is teaching to her students. And with all of that, that's what makes a great professor. The problem is that Lupin, he misses a lot. I'm going to get seen by time.
All right. So Lupin versus McGonagall. 5 minutes free when you guys start talking.
All right.
You go first, Andrew.
Sure. The problem with Lupin is that he's gone for days on end every month as a professor, and substitutes can only do so much. Look at them when Snape took over and they were doing the Hinky Punk lesson. The students had to play catch up because Lupin wasn't there.
But at the same time, when you look at what Lupin done for his student, especially in terms of Neville and Harry, he helped them overcome this stuff. Neville was insecure during the time before the event of the Phoenix, before everything else, and Lupin helped him with the Bogart, by him to face the fear Snape. No other defensive dog professor done before, like over defensive dog professor. Pearl was every idiot carrot. He didn't teach much. Gilroy Lockhart was just didn't know what the hell he was doing. Lupin done a lot. Like also face the fact, without him, Harry would not have survived his 3rd year at Hogwarts. He had a problem with Dementors. Lupin taught him one-on-one how to learn to Patronus. But later on, help the DA, the Dumbledore Army know how to do it. But help in the Battle of Harvard during the end of the film with Fate Dementors.
So McGonagall didn't help the Dumbledore's army? Because here's the thing, she also was inspirational to her students. There's a reason that they came to her all of the time. She saw potential in her students. When Harry went on the broom for the first time, she was like, "I see potential in him. He could be a great seeker in the Quidditch games." Things like that.
I will also say when Harry went to her about the Philosopher's Stone, she said it was safe. She didn't go along with him and help him out. She just said, you don't know what you're talking about. The Philosopher's Stone is safe. Go on with your life. She didn't do anything. Also, when Little Boy Walcott went in charge, she encouraged him to go down to Chamber of Secrets. It's all based on the movie. She let him fix Harry arm. She sent Harry as a 11-year-old to Forbidden Forest at detention with no teacher in their right mind would send an 11-year-old kid to the Forbidden Forest. She also, when we talk about the movie, if you're talking about the book, that is a different conversation. In the book, she might use greater effect. But in the movie, Prisoner Azkaban, remember you to great effect. You see his relationship with Harry. You see how he helped him, especially on the train.
Right.
And learning to spread the Patronus.
Right. But not mentioning that he's, not really kind of cluing in the students that he's a werewolf. Sorry, I just heard a really loud bang outside. I'm so sorry, guys. But the danger that Lupin put his students in is also kind of insane. But the other thing that Lupin doesn't have, once again, is consistency. And McGonagall not only has consistency through one film, she has consistency through all of them. She definitely fought for Dumbledore's army. She's an inspiration to those students.
But when you ask, who does they mention most for that invited? Lupin been mentioned. Dean Thomas said Lupin was the best teacher they ever had. And it's by the fact that when you ask who inspired who was a great teacher, especially in the history of lack of great teacher in the Defense of Dark Art. We even get to see things like Defense of Dark Art and Half-Blood Prince. So Lupin was the most consistent. He taught them the new passive effect, were effective later on in their life when other teachers were not, especially Mad-Eye Moody Umbridge, which didn't do much. He taught them to face their fear, to overcome their thoughts. He gave them counsel. He gave them confidence in the fact of what they were doing. And when the truth came out about he available, he put his students' safety first and decided to resign rather than continue on and allowing to be in danger him. That is what a good professor does. Yeah, only 1 year, but what he does during 10 years, more than what McGonagall did.
1 minute
on the movie.
1 minute.
The question is not.
Barr gets the last minute.
The question is not who's the best professor of the dark arts. You keep bringing the fact that he is the best of the professor of the dark arts up. That is not the question. It is best professor. She inspires her students. She's knowledgeable in what she knows. She does very well in passing on that knowledge, and she stands up for the students. When Umbridge was making Harry write in his own blood, who's the one who came up to defend him? It's McGonagall. McGonagall, time and time again in this series, has been a huge help to everyone around her, like a good professor does, because she loves her students, she respects them, and she sees potential in them in both their personality, their spirit, and as students. Plus, it's Maggie Smith, who's amazing. So
Time.
I know it doesn't matter.
Barr, you are going to go first with your closing. 1 minute when you start talking.
The question is best Hogwarts professor. And when it comes to being a professor, McGonagall time and time again proves why she's so well respected and why she is a great professor. She stands up for her students. She knows what she's talking about and she's able to pass it down, and she does it very well. She has the caring attitude, the nurturing attitude, and the overall defensiveness that a really good professor should have. And with that, Lupin is not there consistently. He's missing days on end. His students are falling behind because of that. And there are other things that he's keeping that puts them in danger. McGonagall is the best professor.
All right. Ending a couple seconds early. Chris, you now have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
So we talk about Back Harvard Professor. Remy Lupin. It's based off the movie. He is the professor. He helped Harry learn the better to He helps his student be the better than himself. He helped never get over insecurity. When we think of Back Harvard Professor that people look up to, Remy Lupin get up often. McGonagall, great. But in terms of the movie, she doesn't get shown why she made that great. She made great decisions that the movie kind of ruined what made her so great. Remy Lupin, especially based on one movie alone, done a lot that helps his student later on in life. Harry learned his better Patron. Without him, we wouldn't have the rest of the Harry Potter movie. We wouldn't have Harry as a character because he had to defend against the Dementors. And without him, Harry wouldn't have a father figure besides Sirius to talk to about his pen. He been there for Harry. He named Harry his godchild. He also helped his student with everything they need to know in life that you need your practical, of a theatrical, or magic. And that would make a good professor. Those that inspire your student do better by your student.
All right. Bring the judges back in. Robert, your vote didn't count last time, so we'll go to you first on this one.
All right. This was actually honestly pretty tough because I think if you ask this question, these are probably going to be the two most picked answers. I think Chris did a really good job of arguing like best defense against our professor and like biggest impact on the story with the smaller amount of time. But I think Barr did a little bit better job of arguing like the specifics of being a professor. Like Chris definitely talked about like what Lupin does for specific characters, but Barr had a really good dig about the inconsistency and how his students are falling behind, and that kind of makes him a bad teacher. And there was never really a defense against that. There was never really a counter to that by Chris. So I have to go to Barr for those reasons. But it was close. Both gave some really good arguments. I just think that Barr did a little bit of a better job at arguing the specifics, the intricacies of the question.
All right. I'll go next. I agree. Literally, you stole the words right out of my mouth. I think Chris did a great job at talking about why Lupin is such a good character and such a good presence in the Harry Potter universe. And without him, there would be a lot of things that wouldn't happen. But I think what you said, Robert, Barr's kind of dig on Lupin of why he's not a great professor specifically, took a lot of weight for me. But I did like Chris's argument about how he helps his students and how he helped Harry and Neville and all of them get over a lot of stuff. But I do give my point to Barr in the end. With that, Barr gets the second point. Cody, you didn't get to vote. Where would you have leaned?
I was waiting for the worst thing this professor gets turned into is a cat. The other is a werewolf that will rip your face off, but they never said those moments. But all in all, I have to give it to Barr just because of his overall, like, I think he broke it down better as why a professor, why a teacher, versus why what they did for the students is great, but not for the job of teacher. So I have to give it to Barr.
All right. So we are going to move on to the
Hey, Bob, good job. That was really good.
Thank you, man. I honestly thought I lost.
A close fight.
I thought I lost. I'm going to be honest.
No, that was a very good one. We are going to move on to the third question, which is in the category of Disney. And the question is, who is the worst Disney princess? Oh, boy. My wife has thoughts over here on the couch. Barr drafted this one, so he's going to go first. Barr, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
There are a lot of great Disney princesses with a lot of great different personalities, but the one who's kind of not only a dumbass but a blank slate is Snow White. Snow White, I can't really even describe what her personality is. She puts herself in danger at one point because she doesn't listen. And then like she's one like her personality trait is that she's the fairest of them all, which basically means that she's the most beautiful person in like the kingdom. Not really a lot going on behind Snow White as compared to a lot of the other Disney princesses. And with that, I'm going to concede the rest of my time.
Okay. Barr concedes about 15 seconds. Chris, you now have 1 minute to open your argument. Who is the worst Disney princess?
When it comes to Disney princesses, you look at those in a valuable model. You think those who movies based around them, and you think those who had great personality. The one that comes to mind, especially in a movie that is okay about, is Princess Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty. Princess Aurora, the more boring character there is, there's no personality. She is a common copy of Snow White. She wants her prince to come. She dances with the forest animal. She just dances around all day. She doesn't do anything. That most of the movie more focused on the good fairies and Maleficent and Prince Philip and her father and his father and such than Princess Aurora. She make dumb decisions, especially with the spinning wheel scene. She don't want to find love. She believed that she met somebody once upon a dream. Did nothing to her. Nobody at least had one thing going on with her that made her more interesting than Princess Aurora.
3, 2, 1. All right, time. All right. Princess Aurora versus Princess Snow White? Princess Snow White? Yeah, that's how you would say it. 5 minutes when you guys start talking.
Oh, I don't understand the idea of Aurora having no personality at all. You can tell that she has a creative side when she's dancing with the animals because the way that she dresses them up as like that human figure and is having a lot of fun with it.
Okay, but that is a common copy of Snow White. Snow White also had fun with the animals. She had bake stuff. She had stuff going on. She even cleaned the house to do stuff despite her prejudice. She inspired Grumpy to actually become more happy and be more personality. Snow White done a bunch of stuff. She invited almost all the movie up until the poison apple. Princess Aurora is barely focused on half the movie. It's the good fairy and Maleficent. That made her boring because she is boring. She got no personality. She got one decent song and one decent thing with Prince Philip, and that is it. Nobody at least is shown throughout the movie. She get moments that you fall in love with her. Someday my prince will come moment. The scene with her in the drug dancing. Like stuff that make you realize why you want her to succeed and the evil queen to lose.
I'm sorry that Sleeping Beauty got cursed and forced to sleep throughout a lot of her story. That's not her fault. That doesn't mean that she doesn't have any personality. She got hypnotized. That if you watch that scene where she pricks the spinning wheel, she's entranced. She's hypnotized. It's not like she went, "Ooh, what's that? A spinning wheel? Prick, snooze." It's not her fault. Whereas with Snow White, she let the witch in. The dwarves told her, "Don't let anyone in. Don't trust strangers." And what does she do? She does exactly the opposite. That's her choice.
But that's because of her good nature. The fact that she's willing to trust anybody. But when you look at, especially with role models, Snow White is much better role model than Prince of Aurora. Didn't really have a MacGuffin in the movie, for goodness sake. Because most of the movie is focused on Maleficent and the Good Fairy and Prince Philip and the family bizarre comedy scene. It's just like there's nothing to her. There's just one scene and it's just like I rather Maleficent win in the end because we're so bored from Prince Aurora. Not even everybody today will put on Aurora costume. They will put on Snow White. Even outside Sleeping Beauty in movies like Maleficent, Aurora is still a boring character. Snow White is used better as a Disney princess because of her personality. The fact that she will do anything to give into bad circumstances, going on in her life to do better in life.
The Huntsman has a better role than Snow White and the Huntsman, though. So,
tell me, what besides her creativity, what else makes Princess Aurora fascinating more than Snow White?
I'll tell you. I'm glad you asked that question because in Snow White, Snow White sees the prince, and she's like automatically kind of falls in love with him. Whereas with Sleeping Beauty, when they first meet during that Once Upon a Dream sequence, she's like, "Who are you?" Like, I'm not like she doesn't automatically fall in love with him, which was the trope of Disney princesses. She's smart enough to be like, I don't know you. Why do I have to talk to you? Why are you what are you doing here? She's smarter than Snow White is.
But that one small scene did Snow White still have like she's nice, she's kind, she's willing to do anything given the bad circumstances she has. She gives the dwarf happiness and hope. She brings Grumpy out his grumpiness for one. She does much more than what Princess Roar did. Princess Roar did just shit because she only danced with the prince. She kind of fell in love with the prince. And then the rest of the movie just sleep. It all focused on the good fairy Elizabeth because Roar is a MacGuffin. The thing that annoys most, that no one distressed that needs saving. Nobody lead and up into the poison apple.
1 minute.
Do what she have around Randy with her friend to make use of what her given circumstances. She's a much better role model. She is. You realize why anybody would fall in love with her. Roar, that's shit. And the movie even acknowledged it by not showing her that much in the movie. Like, it's just the Good Fairy movie. It should be called the Good Fairy movie, a Maleficent movie, right? We got later on. Like, that is just like every
I cannot accept the idea that Snow White is the better role model when she is the exact case for stranger danger. She trusted this stranger and who was like, "Here, have an apple. There's nothing wrong with it." Side glance, side glance. Of course there was something wrong with it. And instead of being smart, she was like, "Ooh, what, an apple? Oh, it makes my dreams come true? Okay, then." Snooze. They both sleep.
Time.
At least he wasn't a MacGuffin.
Time. Strike that last comment. Okay, Chris, you now have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
Okay. We all would agree Disney princess back during the older age was a decade, but say Snow White is the worst robot and Princess MacGuffin, who done really nothing in the movie that not the movie is even interested in her, make her the worst Disney princess. She's boring, she has little to no personality. She forgot the most in the movie that daydream. She doesn't do anything. And then she falls asleep, and then the whole movie turns into Prince Philip, Maleficent, a Good Fairy, which it should be called. Even outside the Disney movie, Maleficent does even worse. Snow White lead. You know why people would fall in love with her. Her good personality, her lovingness. She really is that anybody, to bring Grumpy out of grumpiness. What made anybody fall in love with her? Anybody would dress up as Snow White more than Princess Aurora because nobody liked Princess Aurora. Princess Aurora on the worst list, at the bottom list because she's boring. The MacGuffin. So, hello, good MacGuffin. Bye, good MacGuffin. Go back to where you came from.
One time. All right. Whoops. Okay, so I'm sorry, Barr, you now have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
Okay. First of all, the whole like more people dress up as Snow White thing, it doesn't matter to me. People don't dress up as Vanellope as much, and she's a much more interesting princess than Snow White is. Plus, I can't understand this no personality thing. Like when you see Princess Aurora, she's smart. She doesn't take well to people just coming in and being like, "Hey, you should be in love with me." And Snow White's personality is that she's nice and that she's pretty. Like there's not a lot else there. And the fact that you say that she's a MacGuffin, like Snow White becomes a MacGuffin. Like the prince that just happens to come along and is like, "Hey, that's that girl that I met that one time before. This is true love." And she's apparently in true love with him. So the idea of the sleep thing, it doesn't matter because they both sleep as a MacGuffin.
All right. Okie dokie. This was a good one. Bringing dem judges. Cody, your vote did not count on the last one, so you get to go first.
Oh, this one's tough. Chris came to fight this battle. He
Yeah.
threw a lot of barbs, like a lot. He threw a lot of stuff he threw some stuff that did not matter. Like, I don't care who dresses up for who or blah blah blah. I don't dress up as any of these princesses. But for what I heard, I'm gonna lean towards Barr. I'm gonna lean towards Chris on this one. I think Chris just hit way more barbs against him. I don't know. There's 3 judges, but that was where my vote would have went on this one.
All right, Robert, you go next.
Yeah, I also am going to give this one to Chris. I think it was a really even fight. I think if Barr's closing was really, really good. I needed to hear it just a little bit more in the middle. The how they're both in the MacGuffin, how they both sleep. You got it in there at the very end. I need a little bit earlier so that you could expand on it in the closing instead of first bringing it up towards the end. But yeah, I mean, both honestly good picks. Neither really like fantastic, great characters. I really did like Barr's Stranger Danger joke, but yeah, I think Chris's offense was really strong on this one.
So that does mean Chris gets a point on the Disney one. I also would have gone with Chris for all of the reasons you guys said and more. So, all right, we are going to move on to the final prep question. This is a must hit for Chris. If Barr hits this one, he is the winner. So, the question is in the category of comedy. And the question is, what is the best action scene in the Cornetto trilogy? So, Chris, you drafted this category, so you are going to get to go first. 1 minute when you start talking.
Okay, so when it comes to Cornetto trilogy, there are a lot of great action sequences to choose from. But I don't go with one that doesn't get a lot of love like the other two. I'm going with the World's End. The action sequence I picked is the bathroom fight between the robot and all of the other characters. And it's some of the more inventive action sequences. You got Andy just doing a bane, like not breaking somebody bad, to Gary smashing the robot head in with the robot hand, to each other thing. Like it's a right humor and action mixed together and done around little music with a great job by Stephen Price. That is amazing. And it adds to the character depth when Oliver, the way he really want about his personality and how he appears, that's about to do. To everybody else, Andy, right? Everybody else is just like, I could go on, but I save it for my rebuttal because I need to get my thoughts together. There's a lot to say about this.
All right. Time. Okay. Barr, you now have 1 minute to open your argument when you start talking.
Chris is right. The best action sequence in the Cornetto trilogy does come from The World's End, but he picked the wrong scene. It's the big fight at the Beehive. Yo, there is so much going on in that scene, and you can appreciate it more because you see everything going on. And then Edgar Wright's like frantic, crazy, kinetic kind of action sequences, you kind of need that. The bathroom scene is great, but the Beehive scene is absolute treasure because everyone gets their chance to shine in a really fun, creative way in that moment. And it also showcases why Edgar Wright is such a great, brilliant director when it comes to visual comedy and action scenes. But we'll get to that in the main argument. So I'm going to concede the rest of my time.
All right, Barr, the king of conceding 15 seconds. 5 minute free form. You guys start when one of you starts talking.
Okay, you want to go on? Should I go first? I want to be nice.
After you. I've started the last 3 times, but I'm not afraid to continue on.
Okay, the problem with the Beehive scene, and I do like the sequence, it doesn't get everybody a chance to time. When you come to the bathroom fight, it's so every character written down to each of the characters. Andy being the Bruce thing, Will. And yeah, right, Beehive you get one funny line for Andy that his smashing head with Boss do. But it's much better when you break the robot back. You get Oliver saying about appearance that kind of about doing. Each of the characters a moment to shine. Even the friend that put a good fight but couldn't pull out the good fight. And it showed Gary willingness to help his friend out. And the Beehive scene is just him trying to drink his drink and then help you out one to the end on a whimper of a note. With Pierce Brosnan coming into the last minute that are just blasting the robot head in with his arm. It's such epic moments. It's like, and it's so off everything that we get later on.
I don't think that's I don't think that ending is a whimper of a note at all. Yeah. It shows how well these guys have been able to fight up until this point. And then when you see Pierce Brosnan's character come back again, it's that oh shit moment that the story needs, and that fight scene is the exact encapsulation of oh god.
But
no.
It's also repeated.
Let Barr keep going. You talked for a minute. Let him keep going.
Plus, I don't understand the idea of not giving everyone a chance in the Beehive scene. There's the great scene with Steven and Sam back to back when Pete comes in. It's a great moment. And I think that the pint gag in that fight scene is exactly what gives it that breath of fresh air. The fact that he just wants to finish this pint and everyone keeps coming in and attacking him. I think that is such a refreshing moment of that entire fight scene. You don't get something like that in the bathroom scene.
You get plenty of moments. You get like, sorry, look at the character name. You get Andy just randomly knowing how to fight. You get Gary just like tricking people and knowing how to use robot arm. You get Oliver almost starting out a fight, and he gets bashed in the back. It's pretty funny. Like, and the music is just good, fantastic. The song they picked for the Beehive scene is very distracting and take away for the epicness of the song. It's just like, and it kind of ruined how Gary is as a character. He willing to help his friend. He trying to get Annie approval. You see him like, oh, Annie, look, and Annie doing something else. And he throwing the arm to help the other friend out. Like but Edgar Judge Batch is allowing character description in the scene during the scene. You see it in the Bastard scene. How to each get the character line.
I don't understand the idea of him not helping his friends in the Beehive scene. There's the scene where he's about to finish his pint and he sees Sam in danger and he's like, fudge. And he goes over and he like takes out the blank that's like taking her on. Plus, Andy's fighting is better in the Beehive scene. You can appreciate it more because he's doing so many different things. He's using all parts of his body. That one belly shot is fantastic. I don't understand how you think that the fighting in the bathroom scene is better than the fighting in the Beehive scene from Andy.
Because he take a robot, Lily Bane style him. It's so epic. They're backing in the head. They all just carried Oliver. Peter carried it. But they used again in the Beehive scene. It's done better in the bathroom as a funny little joke. And then everything, it's just like it complements who each other character are. Beehive is just like Andy just putting shit together. Gary just drinking. Like, it doesn't show how Gary loves his friend like he does in Battery. He helped his friend out. He put arms out his one friend out.
1 minute.
Kind of like Gary is.
And he rips the head off of a blank in the Beehive scene. That's fantastic. Plus, the camaraderie in the Beehive scene is so much better. They're fighting together. They're not fighting individually. And the other thing that the Beehive scene has is the larger space. You can see more. The kinetic energy and the kinetic fighting is so much more appreciated. There's the one scene towards the beginning of the fight where one guy gets punched in the face, that one guy punches that guy in the face, one guy punches that guy in the face, and it's all in one shot in quick succession, and you can enjoy it because it's so much more easy to follow in that space.
But I think the ballroom scene done better, especially like Shaun of the Dead, especially Hot Fuzz. I think the bathroom scene speaks of what it is. A great humor, great action. The shot of the robot going to the bath, by hitting the things is so great.
Time. All right. Barr, you are going to close your argument first. 1 minute when you start talking.
I've seen better tight room fight scenes in other medium, the hallway scene in Old Boy and Daredevil. So tight quarter fight scenes have been done better than in the bathroom scene. You get to appreciate everything in the Beehive scene. You get to see how everything works. People coming into frame, then suddenly going out of frame. People popping into frame. One person fighting for his friends and for himself, but also just wanting to finish that pint. It's creative. It's really well done. when they hit the fire alarm at the beginning, it sets the tone for the entire scene, and it just rides that till the end. And the editing is so much better. There's a weird editing scene in the bathroom where Steven's getting pushed in the Pete, and there's like this weird like shift in editing, and it's really noticeable. It's clean in the beehive scene. It's well shot. It's well choreographed, and the action is so much more intense.
Time. All right. Chris, you now have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
So when it comes to kinetic back-action sequence, the bathroom scene's done better. It's with great score, with great action that speaks true to who the character are. With Peter trying to hide under the bathroom because Kevin it, to Oliver's actor appearance, to Annie jumping the bootstrap rail, to Gay willing to tell all just cut. It served a what the fuck moment in the movie that really served how crazy the movie really gets. It had no music, which served the stereotype better. Great action sequence, Annie breaking the robot guy brain style, to Gay bashing the guy, and to one of the fans almost trying to win it. Then it speaks to the character. I love the beehive scene, but it's done better on the film, and the music 20 seconds to play really distracting for how good the scene is. And it's just like bathroom scene, a great scene with no music, a score that's so great to listen to, with epicness, with Annie being one of the best action moments is that kind of redone again in the beehive sequence.
Time. Okay. All right. I get to go first on this one. This was pretty close, actually. I heard a lot of both competitors did a really good job of describing what their scene is like, what the characters do in the scene, and but so I kind of those things kind of canceled each other out. What kind of did it over for me was Barr's hit about we've seen this bathroom scene a lot. In named a couple things like we've seen it before, and Barr actually got into some specific details about how his scene is shot and looks and edited, and at a certain point when the actual scenes kind of cancel each other out, that kind of put it over for me. So I'm going to give my point to Barr. Cody, I will go to you next.
Yeah, I just admitted not too long ago, Shaun of the Dead was the one that I saw in 2004 and never watched again, and I've never seen the other two. So I'm not very familiar with this trilogy, but Barr painted the better picture for me and explained why his fight scene was better versus Chris's. So I give Barr the point.
Okay, and Robert, you don't get to vote on this one, but where are you going?
I would have agreed with both of you. I'm also not super familiar with either of these scenes. I thought both people, Tim, you kind of explained it really well. As far as explaining their scene, really, really, really great arguments. It came down to who attacked the other one a little bit better, and I think Barr did that just a little bit better in his argument.
All right, so with that, your winner, Andrew Barr, by way of knockout. Let's start by talking to Mr. Barr. Barr, you have won the match. How are you feeling? This is the first knockout in Fanzone. So how are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling good. There's a few things that in some of my matches that in the rounds that I forgot to bring up. So I'm kind of kicking myself for those. But I feel good because Chris put up a really good fight. There were a few things that he would throw at me that I was like, well, didn't think of that. I'm just excited. I'm glad to have pulled out the win.
Yeah. So your next opponent is decided. You are playing the winner of the last match, Nicholas Tuig. So you are playing Mr. Tuig.
Oh God, no.
So are you excited for that match? How are you feeling about debating Mr. Tuig?
God, God dang it. He's gonna be real tough. Tuig is really, really smart. He's like really smart. And especially there are some categories that I know that he's gonna pick that I'm gonna have to really hunker down and like dive deep into and educate myself better in. So I'm excited to fight Tuig because I like Tuig as a person. He's a lot of fun, but man, that's a hard second round for me.
Yes, I have debated Tuig before, and it's not a fun time. He makes you feel very happy while also hating him at the same time. It's very frustrating. So that'll be coming in later on in a month or so after we get through the rest of these round one matches. But congrats on your win. We will see you soon. We'll move over to Chris. Chris, you played really, really well despite the score. How are you feeling today about the match?
I'm feeling good. Andrew pulled up a really good fight. This is like he gave me a run for my money a lot, so I was expecting. But yeah, like congrats to Andrew. I thought it was a really well fight. This is I felt it one of my better debates from recent debates I've been in.
Yeah,
And,
you go ahead.
Sorry. And thank you guys for having me on. It's been really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy you were here. You debated very well today. I think that was a good point. He definitely gave you a run for your money. It was a fun one to watch. It was exciting, and we're glad that you guys were here. So let's move over to the judges. Cody, final thoughts on the match. What are you thinking?
Barr is exactly who I thought he was going to be in this match. Saying a bunch of he may use more adjectives to sell and themes to sell his pick than one of my best friends, Robert the Hobbit Parker. I'm telling you, Spider. Sorry. So like that is something that first round I think I was lost with how many things infectious and crazy and blah blah blah. Well, and Nick Tuig's coming in with a sledgehammer, so I don't know what's going to happen next time, but I'm excited to see pretentious versus a sledgehammer. It's going to be great. Yeah, and Chris did really well too.
Yeah, Robert, your final thoughts.
Yeah, Chris did really well. I think he did really well. Barr did really well. Cody's absolutely right. Barr is very good about getting down to the core of the question and kind of breaking it down bit by bit and arguing for those little like minor points, which is definitely a style that some people do. And I'm interested to see how that debating style goes against Tuig's. But Chris has nothing to hang his head about. He actually did really, really good today, defending his points for the questions that he drafted.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that'll do it for today's episode of Fanzone. Come back in 2 weeks. We have Brian Michaels versus Jacob E. West. I can say that we've already filmed it, and it's a disaster in the best way humanly possible. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time, but it's... so join us 2 weeks for that match. That'll be a good one. Other things to look forward to. We've got Ryan O'Regan going up against RJ, which is going to be an interesting match as well. Those are two people that it's going to be interesting to see how they fight each other. And then, of course, the newly announced Nicholas Tuig versus Andrew Barr coming soon as well. So for all of us here, Andrew and Chris, and the judges today, Cody and Robert and myself, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you 2 weeks with another match. See ya.